All right, so the last set of notes for this unit, we're looking at tides, and I know we already looked at tides before when we were looking at tsunamis. We briefly touched on it, saying that the moon causes tides. They're not as bad as tsunamis, which tsunamis are, remember, a big wall of water. All right, so you're going to look to the last page of notes. Moon causes tides. It's page 12. And once you have that written, please hop back to the anticipation guide. And remember to fault if you don't know it, that's okay. We get very high tides and very low tides twice a month, which is when the moon is new and full, true or false. And the last one, tides are caused by moon's gravitational pull on the earth, true or false. All right, high tides versus low tides. Tides are the rise and fall of the ocean water that occurs roughly about every 12.5 hours. And the water will rise for about 6 hours, and then it falls for about 6 hours. Tides are caused mostly by the moon's gravitational pull on the earth. So looking at this, you have the moon pulling on this, and no, it does not bulge like that much, but it does bulge. Just a slight bit. It's like maybe a couple inches. It's not a whole bunch, except for like in the Bay of Fundy. That one you can see the massive tides, like the high tides and the low tides. So what causes those tides? It is the high tide on the side closest to the moon and low tide between the two high tides. Water bulges towards the moon and continues to follow it as it goes around. Like this. Like here's where the high tides are going to be. Here's where the low tides, like at 90 degrees. Mind you, it's not that huge one that you see. It's maybe a couple inches, maybe a little bit more, depending on where you are. Like I said, the Bay of Fundy is very, very special. And like the only place you could really see the massive amounts of tides. Like it can go up 3 stories and down 3 stories. It's insane. It's kind of cool. I want to go visit. All right. So spring tides. That's one of the tides, one of the big tides that we get. Not the normal everyday ones, but a big one. So when the earth, the sun, and the moon are in straight line, a spring tide occurs. Spring tides occur twice a month at the new moon right here and the full moon right here. And yeah, I know you can see a little sliver. It's the only way I could show you a new moon. There are very, very high tides and very, very low tides. Like this is where you can see it drastically at the Bay of Fundy. And I'm not exactly 100% okay with this diagram because it should show more pull when it's this way. And if you notice, you've got solar tides and lunar tides. Those are a good thing to recognize. All right, so we have spring tides, new and full, and you get very, very high tides and very, very low tides. Now, a neap tide is during the moon's first quarter and third quarter. The moon is at a right angle from the sun, and the sun's pull produces a neap tide because remember the sun does have a little bit of gravitation towards us. It's what keeps us in orbit. But it almost like the moon and the sun's gravity negate each other because remember, mass and distance cause gravity. The sun is like a million Earths altogether, so it's got a lot of mass. So there's more pull. However, even though the moon is a sixth the Earth size, its distance to us creates greater gravity there, or at least we have gravity on that moon. So there's when this neap tide occurs, there's almost no tides at all. And again, you're seeing this. The flat like this causes the spring, and the up and down is the neap. All right, quiz time. Tides, quiz 5. All right, what causes tides? Wind caused by the sun, moon's gravitational pull on the earth, earth's gravitational pull on the moon, sun's gravitational pull on the earth. Well, it's the moon's pull on us. Which type of tide will have the greatest high tide and the greatest high and low tide difference? Is it spring or neap? Depends on the distance the Earth is from the sun, or it depends on the time of day. This one's going to be spring tide. Tides rise and fall how often? Is it 29.5 days, 12.5 hours, 24 hours, or 6? 12.5. All right. Spring tides occur twice a month at the blank moon and the blank moon. Is it the new and full, first and third quarter, waxing crescent, waning crescent, waxing gibbous, waning gibbous? It's the new and full. All right. During what tide is there are very little difference between high and low tide. Is it spring tide, during new moon, neap tide, or during full moon? This one's going to be neap tide. All right, let's hop back to the anticipation guide. Okay, we get very high tides and very low tides twice a month, which is when the moon is new and full, true or false, on the left-hand side. This can be true, and in the explanation area, write down these are called spring tides. 10. Tides are created by moon's gravitational pull on the Earth. True or false? This one is true. Earth has more mass, therefore has more gravity, but the moon does pull on the Earth. All right, last but not least, let's go to the summary. What causes the tides? Blank causes the rise and fall of the tides. That is the moon. The moon's gravitational pull causes the rise and fall of the tides. What is the difference between a neap tide and a spring tide? So a spring tide occurs when the moon is in the full or new phase, which causes the tides to be very high or very low. The neap tide occurs when the moon is in the first or third quarter phase, which causes the tides there to be almost no tides. All right, that is it, and I hope that is it for the day. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask, and I hope you guys have a great day.